Hotepoke Hotepoke. Posted BU/being Jack. She didn't give me my money back, so I ruined her life. I don't know if this is the right sub, but here we go. TLDR in the bottom. I am 20, strongly believed in individualism and equality, currently in university. Jita, fake name, is probably under 24 and a clerk in a government bank. A good accomplishment for middle-class Indians. We both are neighbors, live with our parents. It is normal and sort of compulsory in India, especially in small towns. We are neighbors for around 8 years. Our parents have okay relations with each other, and I have a good relation with her parents and okay relation with Jita. We both are lower economical middle class and socially from upper caste, C castes in India. Both our parents are liberal in Indian sense, but in Western standards they are very conservative. You can say this for majority of Indian parents. February 2019, I had to deposit 8,000 INR, $112. It is a large amount for lower middle class Indians, in the bank. I am sort of lazy and didn't wanted to wait in queues in the bank. Also Jita was in the same bank. So I thought I will give her the money and she will deposit that in my account. I went to her house at 7 AM and called for her mother. She opened the gate. It turned out that her elder brother, 28, and mother and father went to temple. I told her why I came. She accepted the money and told me that she would keep the hard cash and will transfer the money from her account the next day. 2 weeks later, money was still not deposited. I asked her about this several times, mainly from WhatsApp, but she just made excuses. At last, after 3 weeks, I went to her house and asked her to give the money instantly. I threatened her that I will told her parents. After hearing that, she said this: "What proof you have that you gave me the money? Ask for money again and I will tell everybody that you are sexually harassing me." That was it. I became stiff as stone, my whole body became too heavy suddenly. I really had no proof, and I had WhatsApped her several times saying, money hadn't been deposited yet. Or when will you deposit the money? Now, before any of you Western folks say that I exaggerated that situation, have to view the situation through an innocent Indian person. India is basically Middle East in terms of sex, personal space, and sexism. Google two-finger test in India. Also, legally men can't be raped, but unlike Middle East, it hides this fact through white lies. India has a rape problem, and this is one of the reasons of false accusations problem too. I have heard many false sexual harassment and rape accusation cases, and personally seen my distant rich cousin to assault his neighbor due to land dispute violently. He simply used his beautiful clerk to charge him with false sexual harassment case. That case ended with the neighbor been in jail for some time. Both my cousin and his neighbor had to bribe the police. June 2019, I hadn't talked with her again after that, but I had a plan to revenge her. By this time I had spied her a bit and found out that she buys alcohol every alternate Saturday from X place and drink it in her friend place. Drinking alcohol is seen as immoral in male population and 10 times immoral in female population in India. Also, she had a boyfriend, under 25, with whom she spent half an hour every Saturday's evening at X Park, which is on the other side in the town. Having boyfriend and girlfriend is seen as immoral in India, and you won't even get rental flat easily if you have a BF or GF. I clicked her photos both with her boyfriend and buying alcohols. First Saturday, July 2019. That day on my way to the park I found a police SUV a mile away from the park. I thought maybe it's time to get this plan a step further. I told them that couple is doing obscene act in the X Park. The police officer replied in a very rude language. I knew I had to pay him, so I gave him 2,000 INR and he agreed to go. The park Jita used to go was famous for unmarried couples, so in every Valentine's Day, the police used to harass the couples there. On reaching there I told him the spot and began to watch the situation from distance. I wasn't able to hear them but the view was clear. Jita and her boyfriend were neither kissing nor hugging, they were just talking in the bench that time. The police arrived and told them something. After that the police slapped Jita's boyfriend few times immediately. It appeared that her boyfriend refused to give his parents' number. In India, if a police caught a under 30 unmarried couple, then they demands victim parents' numbers. The whole drama went on for 20 minutes. Both even fall on police's feet. At last they had to give some money to the police. This police behavior is pretty normal in India. Both looked pretty terrified that day. First Sunday, July 2019, I had already printed out all the images in 10 groups because there are 10 main houses in the neighborhood including mine. In each set there were 3 images of her buying alcohol and 4 images of her and her boyfriend together. I woke up at 4 a.m. and put all the 1 sets of pictures in front of the 10 houses and went to sleep. I woke up with loud noises from Jita house. I had put 1 set in front of my own house too. I am pretty sure her brother slapped her few times. Her mother was calling her bad names like Randi, Hindi word for whore. Her father was not in the house that day. I asked my mother about the situation and she told me to stay away from Jita. She told that Jita had shamed the whole society with her childish behavior. August 1, 2019, in the last month she was forced to stay in the house by her parents. The whole neighborhood was disgusted by her and her parents also charged blackmailing case on Jita's boyfriend, which caused her boyfriend to spend few days in jail, but he was released after a week. Her parents also trying to arrange marriage her. It turned out that her boyfriend was from lower caste, which fueled the rage even more. She also needed a stitch in her lips because her brother literally cut her upper lips in half. 15 September 2019, she will be married on next year. She had started going to bank again. I still haven't get the money. TLDR, neighbor didn't return money. I informed her parents indirectly she had a boyfriend and drink alcohol. She got beaten by her brother, her mother called her whore and other words for a whole half hour and her parents' house arrested her for a month. Posted by you/Cantakura Scribbler. My dogs defend my family and my friend. This was many years ago and I was never charged. The case was closed as a home invasion that was stopped with reasonable force. My dogs were not harmed or removed from me. My neighbor, let's call her N, was a nice lady, a single mom with 1 little boy. When she moved she had some rat issues caused by the previous owner's hoarding, and since I am not bothered by rats, and had a ratter dog as well as my big boys and girls, I was able to help out a bit. She and my wife became great friends and her boy loved my mastiffs and the Great Dane I owned back then. Often when Anne was working her lad would come and stay with my wife and I, and the dogs, after school and on weekends. About a year after Anne moved in she told us she was sure she was being followed by a man who had approached her in a bar on one of her twice yearly nights out with her sister. She barely went out socializing, it was sheer bad luck she met this man at all, and asked us to keep an eye out for his type and color car, and if we could get his number plate she could give it to the police. We, of course, promised to help, and carried on about that day. Late that night my Dane woke me whining, and led me to the side door. This opened onto a shared driveway with my neighbor. I opened it thinking he needed to go to the toilet in the garden, but as soon as I opened it I saw a man inside Anne's kitchen, and then heard her scream. I dashed over the drive and pushed open her kitchen door. He had forced it, probably what woke my dogs, and shouted at him to stop. He went for me, realized pretty quickly I knew how to fight, and that he was losing. In the struggle he managed to get free, and took off down the road. We called the police and reported it, and gave statements when the police arrived. Anne and her boy stayed with us for the rest of the night. The next day she went to stay with relatives using another friend's car just in case he was hanging around. I scouted ahead a bit to make sure she could get away safely. That night I woke up to the sound of a man screaming in my house. I could have gone straight downstairs to see what was going on, but I waited till it stopped before investigating, since it sounded exactly like the man from the night to me, and I figured he needed some quality time with some real predators. He wasn't moving when I went into the living room, but the dogs were really happy with themselves. What the police and I worked out had happened was he quietly broke into my kitchen through the side door. My mastiffs and the Dane waited till he was deep in the house before they struck. He was ragdolled by the neck from behind by my Dane, and while this was happening the mastiffs tore his legs to shreds. The little ratter my wife owned got stuck in two from the blood all over him at the end of it. He had suffered multiple fatal wounds to his thighs, neck and face. The rapist/intruder had a backpack on with knives, duct tape, gags and a small hand axe. DNA, and had scratched him, and my NN's statements confirmed he was the same man who had tried to rape my neighbor. He had no idea I had large dogs, it seems. Or he was really fucking stupid. Who cares? Those dogs have all died of old age now, but I bred from the mastiffs and still have their pups and grand pups. The Dane made it to 12, which is ancient for one of them. And got a mastiff from me shortly after this event, and she still owns large dogs too. I recommend a large dog as a companion, and as something that will fuck up any intruder for you. As Bill Burr says, it's like owning a gun you can pet.